Hi guys, it's Carlo from Top Gear Philippines. And today, we were lucky enough to be invited by Kia Philippines to come out and test their new Kia Seltos on a drive to Baler. Now, what makes the Seltos an interesting car is that, for those of you in the know in the industry, Kia has not really been doing so well in the Philippines over the past few years. Thankfully, the new distributor, Ayala Cars Corporation, they took over. And ever since they took over, they actually posted 125% growth in 2019. So they actually ended 2019 with a bang. And they're hoping that the Kia Seltos, an all-new introduction, would do well to power them through 2020. Well, the Seltos, Kia Philippines claims, is a car that has done exceedingly well abroad. In countries like South Korea, in India, they spoke about how in India they were able to convert 50,000 units in 2 months. Things like that just goes to show that this car is something that they consider quite important. Now, to talk about the car a little bit, the Kia Seltos is their what they call subcompact SUV. But actually, when you say subcompact, a lot of these subcompact cars in our market include like the EcoSport and similar SUVs. But this doesn't feel like a subcompact SUV. In fact, it feels a lot bigger than a subcompact SUV because even me at 6'2", when I sit in the back behind myself, I actually have space. And you know, it was a pretty long drive from Manila to Baler, and I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours in the back, and I was able to fall asleep, no problem. So we were driving the car around 14 hours, and yeah, I know it's not going to be a full review, but it's enough to give us a feel of what the car is like to drive, or what are the stuff that we found interesting. First of all, it's a very modern looking SUV. When you first lay your eyes on the Kia Seltos, one thing strikes you, it's the grille. It's the Tiger grille. You've seen it on the Stinger, you've seen it on the Sorento, you've seen it actually in all their cars. And this is something that they're very proud of, and it's something that makes a Kia nowadays. And it's not just that. If you look at the front of especially the SX variant, the high-end variant, you'll see that they have the headlamps with the LED running lights, the LED headlights, and the LED fog lights, which is always a very nice high-tech thing to look at. To sum it all up, when you're looking around the car from the outside, it definitely looks different from a lot of other cars on the road. Not just that, but it also looks quite luxurious from the outside. Now that luxury actually extends to when you're getting inside the car. The solidity of the doors and the interior materials, all of it just feels quite expensive. But also the layout of the cabin is very nice. It's very ergonomic. Everything's easy to reach and it's easy to touch. We do enjoy the infotainment system. Thank God, we're all thanking God that a manufacturer has decided to put Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in all their variants. But the thing that stands out the most when you're driving this car is the solidity of the chassis. As you're driving along the highway or hitting bumps and everything, it doesn't feel like an entry-level car. It feels something more akin to a luxury brand with how everything's very well insulated. In fact, Kia spent a lot of time making sure that the noise, vibration, and harshness of this car is actually rated really well. But from Manila to Baler, it's actually a very interesting trip. You have highway, you have city traffic with EDSA as usual. You also have small town traffic. But most interestingly, you have a lot of zigzag and curvy roads that you can try. I think we spent like an hour or two just weaving like left and right through a mountain road, just getting to the hotel. So we were able to try the car in all these different conditions, and thankfully, the chassis of the car, as mentioned a while ago, is just solid. It feels really good. It feels like it wants to handle well, and it does, actually. And this is complemented by the engine, because of course, when you're going through provincial roads, you need to overtake these tricycles. And my God, this car it does its job. It can overtake. The engine of the Kia Seltos is a 2-liter Atkinson cycle engine that's mated to a continuously variable transmission. That means that the engine has about 147 horsepower and 179 Newton meters of torque. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but really, when you floor it, especially in sport mode, since the car does come equipped with Drive Mode Select, you can put it in sport mode, hit the gas, and you'll actually be able to overtake a lot of the cars relatively easily, you know. That's not to say that the Kia Seltos is absolutely perfect. There are certain things that annoyed me a little bit, and they are minor, to be fair, but there are something that we have to mention also. First of all, are the speaker grills in the back seat. Now the C speaker grills, if you look at them, they have this nice angular design. They're very sharp and it's very nice to look at. But when you're sitting down in the back seat and your knee is resting up against it, and you're going through these bouncy roads and like going left and right, your knee will start rubbing against it. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it's something you will notice if you're sitting in the back and your knee's resting up against it. And lastly, there are a lot of blank switches in the car. So if you look at the shifter, there's like, out of the 6 buttons, 5 of them are blank. If you look at the left side, out of the 5 buttons, 3 of them are blank. And it just shows that some features are missing from the car. And it's funny because this SX variant is the top-of-the-line variant, so there should not be missing features. But I have to emphasize, none of these are deal breakers. And the reason for that is the price of the Kia Seltos. The entry-level Kia Seltos, the 2.0 LX automatic, is at 1,098, so around 1.1. The mid-grade is about 1.2. And the SX, the top-of-the-line variant, is about 1.5. And with the top-of-the-line variant, you get all the features that we mentioned as standard, including the backup camera, the parking sensors, the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you have cruise control, you have automatic headlamps. It's just a really nicely featured car. And actually, when you really think about it, at 1.5 million for an SUV in the Philippines, it doesn't have a lot of competition, especially not one as feature-rich and as solid feeling as this one. So again, this is just a first impression. So it's Carlo from Top Gear Philippines. For more car reviews, news, and sometimes motorcycle reviews also, keep it here on Top Gear.